Actually, the story, if you really look into it, even the production designing wise, everything is realistic. When the teacher goes to the toilet and there's this kitchen sign written, and the toilet pot, the ring, which happened to be the basketball ring, and all these are all true. Actually, these are all true events. The yak inside, putting inside the classroom, and almost everything is true. So all these realistic stories came together to form the story of yak in the classroom. The story, actually, as per the story, it is based. The story was based in 2006. So the remoteness of the village was not as that. Presently, we can even take choppers up, and we did that, and it was a good decision because after actually the journey up, we wanted to shoot on the way. But one of our production designers, she refused. She said that it's going to be impossible. And then we agreed to her. And then at the end, we were happy that we didn't take that decision because as we reached up, you know, the elevation is around 5,000 meters above the sea level. So even as we reached there, you know, after 2 weeks or a week, the cast and crew, some of the crew members started to get sick. So, you know, there were times that we even evacuated them from there. So it was a good decision that we didn't. Actually, it is around 8 days walk for us, but the locals, they take around 6 days by walking 18 hours a day. So there was no electricity, no internet. Nothing was there. The film was totally powered by solar. Yeah. Solar power.
And then the young actor, he's willing to take up the challenge, kind of like, he's not, is he professional actor or is he a theater actor?
Everybody was first-time actors, except for me. I was so good that they cut short. Well, everybody was first-timer.
Oh yeah, he's very good. Yeah, you should give him out, you know, compliments. So are there any questions? Yes.
The question is, where do the villagers go after the teacher has left? So this is what the village headman says, you know, that you need to go back, otherwise those days when it snows too much, because the village is in the center and then it's surrounded by mountain peaks, so it gets sealed, you know, for the entire winter, like 6-7 months, it gets sealed. Only these days, the teachers, they get to stay there for about 8 months. Before those days in 2006, they were just there for 4 months, and then they have to leave otherwise because they have to walk. So these days, what happens is the education ministry, they provide chopper services to the teachers there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what about the yaks?
Oh, yaks, they're okay. Yes, they borrowed the fur from the buffaloes, right?
Can you tell me where that was exactly? Because I have a friend who's taught in Bhutan for 4 years. So I want to be able to tell her exactly where this was shot.
Okay. It is in Lunana. 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 Yeah, it is. It's in the northern side of Bhutan. It's in the border of Tibet and Bhutan. Yes. From there, if you walk for 3 hours, then you reach Tibet. Lunana.
Hi, thank you so much. Can you please explain the tradition of sprinkling the water or whatever drink before the drink has been drunk?
Okay. We are in Bhutan. We are very, very. We have a lot of beliefs, lot of thoughts. One of the beliefs is that there are lots of beings around us whom we cannot see. So we say that what is not seen is also there, not only the things that we can see. So when you offer the drink, it is basically you are saying that, okay, this is for all the beings that we can't see and that we can see. My teacher once said that, you know, while he was giving a teaching, one of the questions was, how certain are you by offering this water that you can help these beings around you? And he said, well, that is not important. You believe in that, and if you offer, that is important. Because Buddhism, the other name of Buddhism is Nangpa. Nangpa is inside. And if you try really hard, even if you try really hard, it is so difficult to change even a single person's life. But it is very much possible to change within yourself. And if you can, if ever in your life, if you're able to do that, then that is when you can change the entire world. So that is why offering is very, very, very important to Bhutanese culture, to Buddhist culture. A traditional medicine system is very much part of Bhutan. It's very, very much part of Bhutan. But unfortunately, the Gup's story, the village headman's story, when his wife died, the surgeries and bigger operations cannot happen because they didn't have adequate knowledge about it. Otherwise, yeah, they had traditional, like even when the teacher was going towards the village to Lunana, my character, he was applying some herbs. Actually, that's a true herb. So the village actually has a very, very rich traditional knowledge of medicine. Not really, for now. But what has happened was we took a lot of batteries up there. So we gave a lot of batteries to the houses there, but it's well lit now. Most of the houses are lit now. Otherwise, not really. I mean, like we never know. The film is now only been screened, so Lunana is exposed for the first time on the screen in such a manner for the first time. So I don't know the effect. Maybe in the past it might have some effect, but for now it has not really changed.
And do you foresee the film being screened in Lunana?
Oh yes, we want to go there. We want
but
to
it
walk
hasn't
up.
been screened yet.
No.
And what about in the city? Would it also be screened?
Yes, it's going to be screened in Bhutan. And for Lunana, we promised the villagers that we will come up to screen it, and we will walk up this time, not on the choppers. Yeah, one thing that I wanted to say was, we were in Lunana, and in the past, people took 7-8 days to walk up, and then only they get to enjoy this beautiful scenery. But for us, we like 45 minutes chopper ride, and then we were there. And I was thinking to myself, hey, this is not really, this is really unfair. This shouldn't be happening, actually. So for that, we're going to walk up to screen the film.
So that means, from what I understand, I mean, there's not many tourists.
Not too many tourists.
Yeah.
Not too many tourists. There is this a trekking path known as Snowman Trek. It is supposed to be the most difficult trek in the world. So yeah, it actually ends towards the mid of the trekking. The route passes through the valley actually. So the tourists they stay there for 2 nights and relax, and then they go away.
Well, maybe after this film, it will help to promote tourism to Lunana. Yes, there's a question there. The woman.
The women singer.
And what happened to her part of the story?
Salden. She actually she is still there in the village. She's still there in the village. It was her character actually. This girl was not really from that particular village. She and the lead actor, 2 of them we took them up from Thimphu, yeah. But her character is still there. Yes, with her mother and with Yak Nobu.
I think there was a question earlier, yes.
Oh yes, actually this story is based in 2006. So all the stories that you see on the screen today, that you saw on the screen, were collections of stories during those days. But now things have changed actually. The ministry provides free chopper for the teachers to go up, for the amenities to be taken up. And then also the villagers there, they get 50% discount on the chopper ride. And Up, yes, they have blackboards and yeah, they have proper basketball rings now. And one of the latest development around those area, because Bhutan being a Buddhistic country, we are not allowed to harm animals. And in those area, there is this interesting caterpillar known as cordyceps. So it has been in those areas for quite long, like a long time back, you know. And those caterpillars are very highly valued in Chinese-speaking countries. It has very high medicinal values. It is known as cordyceps. Cordyceps. So 5 years, around 5 years from now, around 10 years actually, the king legalized the collection of cordyceps because the life was too harsh there. So it is also one of the reasons why people are still there hanging around. Yeah. And they didn't have to kill yaks after that.
Okay, there's two. Yes, I get you.
Sorry, I noticed where the fields were barley, right? Or
Yes.
so, but the villagers were eating rice. So is that like, or do they eat like rice for particular times? And then
Rice was eaten only on a special occasion. So those times that we see them having rice, actually, one of the things that we really emphasized on the film is the respect towards the teacher in those areas. So it indicates that, you know, whenever teacher comes to their house, it's a very, very special day. Otherwise, yes, they have sampa and millet and barley and all.
one follow-up question: how do you eat the cheese? Do you eat cheese with rice
Or we cook them with the curry. Yeah, the cheese. So there is cheese in every meal in Bhutan. Every like chili cheese, potato cheese. It's fresh cheese. It's fresh cheese.
Yes.
Had you considered alternate endings to the film, and if so, what were they? Or did you always end the film in Sydney?
Well,
The question was whether there's any other alternate endings to the film.
okay. Initially, we discussed that the actor comes back, but that's going to be too cliche. Yeah. So, but what we tried to show through the film is his entire change. Not only, of course, it's very interesting because he is in Australia, yet only that time he realizes and he's fully changed, even without going back to the village. So this true, we try to show these two situations
And
contrasting each other.
And do you film, when this film was shown, would that be an incentive for some of the young people to go to teach in Lunana instead of going to
Yes.
Australia?
Yes, this is one of our wish, one of our aspirations that this will happen.
And I'm curious to know, like, where he learned filmmaking and how other Bhutanese directors are learning to make films.
Okay. Film as an art, or for that matter, theater as an art, was not really well developed because in Buddhism, we are very much influenced by Buddhism. Everything that considers expression of yourself was not so important. Like, that's why I was even talking about the name. It is true.
Mm-hmm.
We seldom introduce ourselves in Bhutan. Only now, with the modernity, then we say, "Oh, I am Tshering," you know. In the past, there was nothing like that. So the reason why I'm saying this is the film. We didn't have a proper film language. But what has happened was recently in 2003, Bhutan was open to the world, and that was for the first time that television and internet was introduced. So what has happened was there was a huge influx of Bollywood and Hollywood films. And we don't have a proper school for film or theater or nothing. So people just started to mimic. And by now what has happened was, if you ever happen to see the commercial films of Bhutan, you wouldn't believe that it is from Bhutan. It's so different. But for Pawo, he is a very, very well-versed person in terms of Buddhist philosophy and Bhutanese culture and all. So because of the less emphasis on developing self and art or whatever, I think that traditionally Bhutan had a very, very sophisticated way of communicating. Even our language is very underdeveloped. We don't have, for instance, the words are very limited, the vocabulary is very limited. We don't have a word for love, you know. And so many other words we don't have. So because of all this absence of all these words and all these things, some way or somehow we developed a very sophisticated way of communicating. For a very simple example, if I give you, if supposing when I come to your house, if you offer me a tea, I have to, there are layers of things that I need to analyze in my head, you know. Okay, is that, does she really mean it? Or then I'm supposed to say, oh, no, I don't want it, you know, I have had, even if you didn't have anything. And then the house person is supposed to again force you and so many things, you know. So many unspoken things that happens. So actually, this film is one of the closest style of communicating in Bhutanese manner. Yeah. Yes.
And also, actually, the director for this film, Pawo, he was a producer for the film in 2016, Hema Hema.
Yeah.
She sings me,
Sing me a song while
sing
I
me a
wait.
song, yeah.
Yeah.
And so maybe before we wrap up the session, before we start the performance, can you tell us how do you learn such good English? And where do you study theater? You would say you're the professional actor.
Yes.
Yes. And what have you acted in?
Well, I went to an English school my whole life.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And but the other thing is also because for me, I really don't care about so many things in life. So sometimes, you know, people feel, oh, maybe my English is too bad. You know, there are lots of hesitations. But I just went ahead, you know, whatever. So that has really helped me in making my English better, if you think so. With the theater performance, like what I was telling, that in Bhutan, before I'm sure that most of you know about the history of theater. Before the theater before the ritual, which is the basis of all theater, could develop into a proper, well-structured theater, you know, before the rituals could develop there, it stopped actually. At the moment, we have so many rituals in Bhutan, and it is almost like a time frozen stuff, you know. It is whatever rituals that we can see these days has been happening from 15th, 14th century, and it didn't develop into a theater. So for me, I always thought that, you know, only if we had a so-called Bhutanese theater that people can have a way of our own language, you know, where people, because theater is a garden of experience where actors can experience different emotions and then be the same. So I tried to do this in Bhutan, to revive theater in Bhutan for more than 10 years, but I'm unsuccessful. I'm not able to do that. So at the moment, I do social theaters going around Bhutan, advocating social issues. Yeah.
So maybe on that note, we will have your performance.
Sure. Excuse me if my voice is cracking or some. I was going around the country advocating on stray dog issues, and most of the schools in Bhutan don't have good sound system. So I was always shouting, and after 2 weeks I found that I lost my voice. So, you know, actually I'm very talented. If I can't sing well, please don't underestimate me. So I will sing this song, the Yak song. It is very, very dear to me. For the first time, while I was singing that song to the writer-director, he said, wow, it's such a beautiful song. So actually the story started from there. So it's about a yak. It is believed that still to this day, after the sacrifice of that yak, if you're mindful enough when you go to the meadows, high mountains of Bhutan, and if you're mindful enough, you can still hear some waves of the song. In the film, it is not my voice because the director says that it is too epic. He wanted something raw and, you know. But it is going to be there in the film's album. We will be releasing a film's album too. So it goes like this. So ya labiyada shole sa ya labiyada chumdi so ya kudashmi go ya kudash go na. Thank you. Just one last thing. Okay. I would really like to dedicate this song to all the people here who came to watch this film, and especially to Vancouver International Film Festival, in such a time where economy is overtaking art and artistry everywhere. It is so inspiring and so touching that people like all of you keep this culture alive.